terrifying, it's the Cool Kids Club. You should be running, yeah, well, Justin's a monster, and Amy eats worms in the Cool Kids Club. Cool Kids Club.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Ghoul Kids Club.
Ooh. I didn't know we were getting a voice.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not as good at the impressions as you, but I can manage.
You can hold your own.
I can hold my own. I'm Amy.
Hey, Amy.
And I'm one half of the Ghoul Kids Club.
Yeah.
Who are you?
I'm Justin.
Oh, hi, Justin.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. Nice to meet you. It's a lovely day.
It is a lovely day. We are in the deep water, the Halloween deep water now this point, right?
We are in the zone, auto zone. It is like 50 something degrees today.
Yes.
We always talk about the weather.
Always talk about the weather. It's become a thing.
But listen, we have to though because this is it's the best.
It's
weather.
really probably only going to be for the next month or two, and then it's going to be like
we're not going to talk about
it for another
year. But I do have to talk about it a little bit because it's
of course, it's what the people demand
today. It's what the people they're expecting.
Yeah, it's been a very Halloweeny weekend here. It's been temperature-wise, just weather-wise in general.
The vibes have been very immaculate.
Yeah, I got the last of my decorations put up today. I've been watching spooky movies. Mm-hmm. It's on. Mm-hmm. We did a trip to Dollywood for their fall festival.
We did,
which
That's
you
right.
may have seen if you follow us on social media.
Saw the pumpkin Luma lights.
Yes.
And this was the first time any of us had been to Dollywood in at least 18 plus years.
Yes.
So I'm sure lots of it baffles me. It's so strange somehow that people travel to Dollywood from all over, but of course they do because it's like an hour and a half down the road from us. So it seems like something
You're gonna dox
people
us.
Where we live do. Oh,
they're gonna be able to triangulate our position or something.
We're within an hour and a half radius.
I know.
Dollywood.
Someone's gonna have a map out with a compass, figuring out 100 and whatever miles from Dollywood.
You know what? If they're gonna put in that much work,
just come and see me.
Just come see me. It's fine. Just
let me know you're coming.
Instagram. Yeah, that's fine. We'll have lunch. But we did. It was very Halloweeny. I won't say Halloweeny. It was very pumpkin-y.
It was very pumpkin-y. Yeah.
Very pumpkin-y. I will say, though, like, at night, they do have, like, spooky music going through the park.
Oh, yeah.
They change the music, so it is spookier as you're walking through. And they've got lights, and so it's, like, mildly spooky, but still family-friendly.
Yeah, like, you're going through the park, and you round a bend or something, and then, like, the next thing you know, you're standing in front of, like, a mountain, like a pyramid. Almost made of pumpkins, and it sounds like this. Yeah, no, it's a vibe unto itself, and with all that dolly flair, that's just gonna keep going for as long as it goes. Okay, there, it's done now.
So we had a great time doing that. My husband and I and my best friend went to see the new Exorcist movie.
Yes.
It was okay. What other spooky things have we done?
Oh gosh, well.
Oh, we just got together for Friday the 13th.
We did. We had a Friday the 13th in October.
Watched a bunch of Friday the 13th movies.
That's a very special. That's like the planets aligning. When a Friday the 13th in October happens. Right. So yeah, we got together. Marathoned a couple Jason movies.
Yeah.
And had a good time in general.
And I know that you and April also started we also started Fall of the House of Usher last night. The new Mike Flanagan series.
Yes, well, so there's two shows. Two shows? That, oh man, yeah. 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
5 minutes in.
That's all it takes.
There are two shows that came out this weekend that I am wanting to... Well, I've started House of Usher, And then we have not started the new Goosebumps, but I fully intend to.
I watched the first episode right before this podcast.
Really? And your spoiler-free review of just the first episode?
I like it.
Uh-huh.
It's I sound like such an old fogey like saying this, but it's very Gen Z.
Oh, sure.
So I mean, you know, like all the characters are very, very.
We have just entered a phase where a lot of current stuff is just not for us. It's like true. It's not geared toward us, which is fine. I mean, it makes sense. That's
right.
The march of time.
But it kind of seems like you've got a bunch of 45-year-olds who are writing what they think Gen Z sounds like.
I'll be honest.
It's very cliche.
I'll be honest, and we're alienating any viewers who haven't watched the episodes of these shows or House of Usher.
Yeah.
But I thought the same thing in that second episode of House of Usher too.
Oh yeah, I'm like, this is not.
And we're way off topic. Not that we've even talked about what the friggin' topic of the show is yet today.
Well, it's okay. We're talking about all the Halloween-y stuff we've done.
But in the new horror movie Talk to Me, which is also very Gen Z. The scene where the two girls sing "Chandelier" by Sia in the car.
Yes.
Screamed like 40-year-old millennial writing what they think Gen Z is like. Yes.
Moving on. So there's just some things like that. So I'll say I picked up on that in the new Goosebumps. But yeah, it was a first episode. You're introducing a lot of characters. So I wouldn't say it was bad, but I wasn't also like, oh man, this is awesome. So I think
were your bones chilled? Were they cool? Was there a draft?
There was a draft.
A draft, okay.
I feel like it is definitely, you know, scarier. I mean, it's not like, you know, Scream or something, but it's definitely like scarier.
I'm imagining because it's on Disney, it's at least more tame than the Fear Street trilogy of movies we got a couple years ago from Netflix, because those were pretty adult as far as violence and stuff went.
Yeah, I'd say it's somewhere in between.
Right.
Like the Nickelodeon Are You Afraid of the Darks the new, you know, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Like we said last episode with Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, it's a step above, it's between the traditional Goosebumps and it.
Yes. Yeah, somewhere in between then. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll keep watching it for sure. But yeah, so that's my. But I mean, you know what? This does all kind of go into what we're talking about today, because we're talking about spooky TV.
Well, it's our annual installment. We have a whole series now.
Look at us. We're both doing the aliens hands.
No one can see
aliens. No one can see it, but we're both doing. This is. I feel it's important sometimes to give the listeners a visual component.
If you don't know us in person, there's a lot more hand gestures going on than you might imagine. There was a hand gesture going on as I said that. Anyway.
Listen, I'll spin it. I'll get us back around.
Bring it around.
We're talking about television.
We are talking about television. When are we not?
We're talking about television. That's true. So, you know, we're talking about the current things we're watching in Spooktober. You know, this is what we're telling y'all about. But really, the episode today, because this is a nostalgia podcast.
Like, get the hell out of here, 2023 stuff.
Yeah, get out of here, Gen Z. Just kidding.
We love you, Gen Z.
We love you.
This ain't for you.
That's right. That's correct.
This is for the 40-year-old millennials writing Talk to Me and the Goosebumps TV show.
That's right. This is for the 40-year-olds who just want to pretend like they are 8 years old again. That's this whole podcast. Today we are doing another installment. This is our third. Is that right? Third installment.
Installments? That doesn't roll off the tongue as much.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. No.
This is our third installment of the Halloween tape.
Yay! Halloween tape.
Yay! Now, if someone is new to the podcast, or maybe they have not listened to the other two episodes of the Halloween tape, first of all, I'd recommend you do that. But second of all, what is the concept of the Halloween tape?
The Halloween tape is exactly what it sounds like. It was a VHS tape that we had in our house when we were kids, always floating around. And a lot of families, I imagine, had something like this, where it essentially had a bunch of Halloween specials taped on it. Halloween episodes of TV shows, Nickelodeon stuff, cartoons, all kinds of stuff. And so to pay homage, it is lost also, by the way. It is gone. It has returned to the arms of the Lord. The
Lord being the
Pumpkin King. It is returned to the arms of the Pumpkin King in the sky. Mm-hmm. The original Halloween tape is no longer with us, but we honor the memory of our Halloween tape with this series. Mm-hmm. Now, this is kind of the idea behind this is an ode to like small screen Halloween stuff that would have been on the Halloween tape floating around your childhood home.
Exactly.
So what have we covered?
We're not talking necessarily about movies. We're talking about like television specials.
Give them some examples, Amy. You said this is the third installment.
Mm-hmm.
What have we covered?
It is.
In the first two. So the first one,
I don't remember. I know I remember, but I don't remember which was the first.
Okay, so year one, the first part we did, it's Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, which I think was the first thing on our Halloween tape, I want to say, and Garfield's Halloween Adventure.
Yes. God, I might put that on. You know what? I actually might have to watch both of those today because it is so Halloween.
I have watched Garfield's Halloween Adventure already once this year. I'm sure it will not be the last time because I usually watch it more than once. And
it is a really good one.
Yeah, it's really, really underrated, I feel like. And I haven't watched The Great Pumpkin at all this year.
A lot of the Garfield specials are underrated.
As we've talked about on our several Garfield episodes.
God, I forgot.
Okay.
Well, here's our fifth Garfield episode.
That was year one. Year two last year, we did Tom and Jerry Halloween special, which was very near and dear to our hearts.
Yes, and we talked about the particular, like, the interludes with the two teenagers and how that was, like, burned in our heads.
If any one thing was the inspiration for us to start this podcast, it probably would be the Tom and Jerry Halloween special. Our absolute love of that and how hard it was to find for a long time. And
it was.
Yeah. And then we also did Bugs Bunny's Halloween special, the Halloween special, the Frankenstein monster special that was like a bunch of different cartoons edited together.
It was. Justin, it was a Frankenstein monster because we talked about how they used some of the new stuff and
you could tell like the animation changed between scenes because they were using like you'd be in a cartoon from the 40s and then you'd go to a cartoon from the 70s and it looked different.
Yeah.
So anyway,
some clown from the 60s.
You're hung up on some clown from the 60s, Amy. So I feel like we've done a real murderer's row of Halloween specials at this point, but we ain't done yet.
No, we ain't.
We're 15 minutes into this episode, so we should probably say what the hell it is we're talking about. We have two more Halloween specials to talk about. Amy, what have we got on deck today?
Well, the first one we're going to talk about here is the old Tiny Toons Night.
Oh, shit. Time for Tiny Toons.
Now, we've done a Tiny Toons episode.
We have. We did a whole episode, and we talked briefly about Night Ghoulery, but I think we both knew at the time Night Ghoulery is going to be its own conversation.
That's going to be in the Halloween tape eventually.
Yeah.
Yes. And eventually is now.
And here we are. Hey, look at us.
Hey, who would have
thought? Not me.
Not me. We're going to talk about Tiny Toons Night Ghoulery. Yes. And Justin, what's the second one we're going to talk about?
The second one, I mean, we're getting into some more obscure stuff now. But some deeper cuts. But I am so happy that we're finally talking about this show at all.
Yes.
Because I feel like it was...
Other than just in passing.
Yeah. Eureeka's Castle, their Halloween special, which is essentially just a Halloween episode of Eureeka's Castle.
It
came from beneath the bed, is the name of this Halloween episode. And this, now that for sure, 100% was on the original Halloween tape. The Eureeka's Castle one.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was. As I believe the Christmas one was on the Christmas tape.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you
I don't know why that unlocked a memory. I should have remembered that there was also a Eureeka's Castle Christmas
I actually remembered that one more than the Halloween one, for being honest.
Am I going to pull that up on YouTube after we're done recording here and watch it, and then have some real conflicting, like, Halloween, Christmas vibes?
Well, as we've discussed before, this is about the time of year where we're like, the Christmas starts to creep in and we have to hold it off for a couple more weeks. But it does...
Can I tell you that yesterday I had to run into Walmart for a couple things. And, of course, like, the front of the store is all Halloween stuff because they have their seasonal in the front of the store. And then... Christmas is usually its own section off to the side. They take over like the garden
they almost
section.
Put it in the whole garden section.
So I walked through the Halloween stuff. I was looking for a couple Halloween decorations actually. And got a couple things, and then I started. Then it became fall as I'm going down the aisles. Then it's going Halloween to fall, and then
some turkeys and whatnot.
Some turkeys and there's still pumpkins. Just not jack-o'-lanterns, but pumpkins. Turkeys. Yeah, your cornucopia.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden I realized I was in Christmas, and it was like,
you're like, oh no, how did this happen?
Oh no! I literally, Amy, I went, not yet, and I turned around and I was like, I feel like I need to appreciate Halloween while it's here.
Like, aloud to yourself, alone in Walmart.
Well, I didn't say it aloud, but I literally did say in my head, "Not yet." And I turned around and I went to the register.
But you felt the tingle of Kris Kringle.
I felt the Kringle tingle.
Yes, you did. You did. I know it's hard. It's hard.
I felt the Kringle tingle pulling on me like a tractor beam. And I almost gave into it. But I said, not today, Santa. And I said it's Halloween time right now, and you will have your day. You will have your day in the very near future.
You'll have 2 full months.
2 full months?
2 full months.
Oh boy, this is
all right. Let's get back on track.
This is going to take forever.
This isn't even an after work episode, you guys. It's a Sunday.
We're high off Halloween spirit, I think.
I think it's this weather. I know I keep bringing it back to the weather, but damn it.
Let's talk about the fucking dew point right now. Let's talk about the barometric pressure. Let's
talk about the humidity.
Let me get my app pulled up and let's take a look at the 5-day forecast.
No. Let's talk about night ghoulery.
Tonight's my night, I'm the pumpkin guy. On All Hallows Eve, I'll fly through the sky. But alas and alack, I'm bored out of my skull. My once favorite holiday has grown so dull. It's tired, trite, and also routine. I crave different thrills on this Halloween. I wonder what hides beyond this door. It just might be what I'm looking for.
We're tiny, we're toony, we're all a little loony, and under a full moony, we're something to be seen. Things could get hairy and just a little scary, so we're saying to be wary on this Halloween. Ghouls, ghosts, and goblins are coming out at night. They'll flex their jaws and show their claws, filling up with fright.
The monsters will find you.
You better look behind you.
It's Tiny Toon Adventures and it's quite a sight.
The holiday started to bless that dear departed, and now for the faint-hearted, we're telling scary tales.
Our costumes are ready.
I'm dressing up as Freddy.
I'll be J. Paul Getty.
The scary soupy sales.
We'll wear our outfits and knock on neighbors' doors.
We'll trick or treat, and then we'll eat
Candies by the score. We're fearful, we're
frightening. Watch out for that lightning.
It's Tiny Toon Adventures and it's Halloween.
Now let the show begin.
How long till Mother's Day?
An iconic opening.
A truly iconic opening.
Yes.
A parody, and no one did parody like Tiny Toon Adventures. And let the show begin.
And let the show begin.
They rhymed Halloween and begin.
Right. Yes, they spoof so many things. Or
there are,
reference, I guess.
As in true Tiny Toons fashion, there are 10 billion little jokes and references. Some of which you wouldn't even get if you were a kid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some of them I don't get now.
Some of them are references to, like, people that boomers know that I don't recognize.
That's right. This joke, it's like a Ronald Reagan joke or something. I mean, I know who that is, obviously, but I'm
like, who the hell's Reagan?
Yeah.
The actor?
Who was that? The famous actor, Ronald Reagan?
So, Tiny Toons Night Ghoulery is the very last time the original gang appear together at all. This is the end of Tiny Toons.
I don't like that. I don't like that. Makes me sad.
It does, but it lives on through things like this. So
yeah, I mean, and then what a way to go out, because it's very fun.
This didn't air until so the original run I think ended in December of '92. This doesn't air. Well, it's a Halloween special. It's originally slated to air October '94, but ends up not airing until May '95.
That's a perfect time.
Yeah, that's the perfect time for a Halloween special. And that was it. They basically in like '94 and '95 they released the two specials.
The two,
which I believe is the spring break one and this one, which we talked about in more detail on our Tiny Toons episode. This is it. This is it for Tiny Toons.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That is weird, and that's weird that it came out 2.5 years after it ended.
I know. And it is, so they we got a whole lot of parody going on here.
Yeah, so the whole opening is a parody of Nightmare Before Christmas. You start out with, a very Jack Skellington sounding.
He's the pumpkin guy. He's not Pumpkin King. He's Pumpkin. He's Pumpkin guy.
He's Pumpkin Guy. That's right. For legal reasons.
Right. Well, it's protected under parody law. They Weird Al'd old Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King.
So he goes, he's bored with Halloween or whatever, and he goes just like Jack does in the movie, and he sees all the trees, and he sees one that's the big rainbow
Warner
bullseye.
The Warner Brothers,
the
Looney Tunes.
Yeah. Yes. So he ends up going through that tree, and of course that's where all the Tiny Toons.
You don't want to be there unless you like getting smashed with mallets and anvils and run over by trains.
That's right. It's a lot.
I love Looney Tunes.
I do too. And I particularly love Tiny Toons, as we've talked about.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything more perfect than Tiny Toons.
It is pretty perfect. So this is an hour-long special, and the entire episode is a parody of the show Night Gallery.
Yes.
Which is, I also feel like
Obviously,
not something that people, you never hear. I mean, Twilight Zone is still a part of pop culture enough, but people don't talk about Night Gallery, and I guarantee you they just did it for the pun. Night Ghoulery.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, did you ever watch any Night Gallery?
I don't think
Night Gallery was like kind of a later.
So, did you?
Yeah, I did. It was hosted by Rod Serling, who did Twilight Zone, and the gimmick is he'd go around to like paintings that would depict something, and then they would tell a story. So like Twilight Zone, it was like every episode's its own story.
I think I've probably seen a little bit of it now.
I remember watching a couple as a
time.
kid.
I don't think I got
there were a few that stuck in my head. I remember watching it with Dad, and a few that are still stuck in my head all these years later.
Yeah.
It's one I'd like to revisit. But yeah, this is probably just, they were like, let's go with a Night Gallery gimmick, because I got this sweet pun, Night Ghoulery.
Yeah, Night Ghoulery, and it is a sweet
And it's hosted by Babs Bunny, doing a Rod Serling impression.
Babs.
And I have to say, this is the Babs show.
Yeah.
Like, this is Babs at her finest. She carries this entire special.
Yes.
The sheer amount of characters that she portrays, just the
I know.
voices. It's a manic performance by Babs.
Manic. It is. It is.
And
it is something else.
Yeah, so she is doing the gimmick of Night Gallery, which is walking around to different paintings, doing a little Rod Serling-esque introduction, a little bit.
Yes.
She does a bit. Yeah. And then you get into the story, and there's like 9 or 10 of these. And
yeah, there's several.
Yeah, so, and they're all, of course, parodies of popular horror movies or something adjacent. And we're going to talk about these. However, I think we need to take a break. And why would we need to pause right here?
Well, we need to hear from our sponsors.
That is correct.
Yeah. And as you know, we don't have any actual sponsors. No, that's why we can get away with a lot of things. So, we're going to hear from some sponsors from the 90s.
Sponsors of Halloween past.
That's right. Let's hear what they have to say.
Hi, Tom Kelly from Oldies 100 with more Munster trivia here on Fox's Halloween Bash. Do you know what city the Munsters lived in? Back in a moment with the answer. What city did the Munsters live in? If you said Mockingbird Heights, then you were right. And the Munsters are back in town Tuesday. It's the world premiere of Here Comes the Munsters, and it's here on Fox.
Creepfall. When you call us, the terror begins. Creepfall. Real life, ghosts and zombies talk to you. Dial 1-900-490-CREEP. That's 1-900-490-CREEP. Randomly selected callers get connected to me live. Hurry up. We're waiting for you, pigeon. If you're under 18, make sure your parents know you're calling. Just $2 per call.
If you're under 18, make sure your parents know you're calling.
Don't be a creep. Call Creep Phone. Oh, God. Now, did you ever call the Creep Phone, Amy?
I didn't, but you know how scared I was of everything as a kid.
Yeah, you weren't trying to talk to no creeps.
No.
Yeah.
It was the opposite. I was trying to avoid creeps at all costs.
Not a lot has...
I wasn't going to pay to talk to creeps. Absolutely not. Did you ever call the creep phone?
Not that I can recall, or I've just, blanked out that memory.
Yeah. Did you ever call Freddy to talk to him?
I never called any 900 numbers. I don't recall ever calling. Because I don't recall ever getting in trouble for doing so. And I cannot imagine my parents letting me do that.
No.
Not going to happen.
We knew better. We knew better than that. Well, yeah, let's talk about some of these segments here in Night Ghoulery. Like you said, there's about 9 or 10 of them. So
and most of them are just, so it's an hour special. Some of these are like, a little longer,
short.
But some of these are just really like 2 or 3 minutes long.
Yes. And just like any good Halloween special, you're going to have some Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, yeah.
Spoofing.
You have to.
Which is how we start out. First off, you've got the Telltale Vacuum. Of course. And this is a good Plucky and Hampton.
Oh, yeah.
Episode, which you always love Daffy and Porky team ups. So those are always good. And he's, Plucky's afraid of the vacuum cleaner, tries to destroy it.
Does destroy it.
Afterward.
Buries it under the floorboards.
A classic. Just a classic.
That old nut.
That old chestnut. You've got Sneezer, the sneezing ghost.
Yes. Yeah, now this is a Casper the Friendly Ghost parody. And this would get an appearance by Cool Kids Club favorite Witch Hazel.
I know,
right?
The namesake of my cat Hazel.
That's right.
As we've discussed, that's right. This one's got Furball in it as well.
Yeah, the cat.
And unfortunately, unlike the movie Casper, it does not have Devon Sawa.
Right, or Christina Ricci.
Or Christina Ricci.
Yeah.
So it's got that going against
some
it.
childhood and current crushes.
Ooh, Devon Sawa on that Chucky show.
I'll even take crazy Christina Ricci from Yellow Jackets.
Oh yeah,
like no doubt.
You're like, I know that's just a wig, just
even you don't know. Leave the wig on.
No, don't leave it on.
Second thought, keep the wig on.
Now I don't know why, but I feel like we talked about this one in something else, but I could be completely wrong. This is an American Werewolf in London spoof called Demon Dog on the Moors. The Moors.
The Moors. The Moors.
The Moops. It's actually the Moops.
This is Babs
one
sings
has
the
got
shingles
Babs.
song. Like
She what?
sings a song about shingles that got me laughing pretty good.
Oh God, that's right.
Yeah.
Babs is
this
an
is
underrated
the Babs
character.
show. This is a Babs
It
story.
is basic.
And it's basically a parody of an American Werewolf
Mm-hmm.
in London with her being in like an old bar out on the Scottish moors.
The Scottish
There
Moors.
being the werewolf afoot.
Now had Duel's an 80s movie, right?
Duel is 70s. Duel is
70s.
Duel is the first movie that Steven Spielberg directed, even before Jaws.
That's right. Yes. Okay. So this is a Calamity Little Beeper collab.
This is the hottest collab in Toontown this year. This Calamity and Little Beeper. Calamity X Little Beeper.
Yes, exactly. This is the parody of Duel, of course, and it's called
Now
Fuel.
and this is just your typical Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote bit parody. You can imagine. If you've ever seen the movie Duel, it's great, as is the short story by Richard Matheson.
Never seen or read. those things.
Really, really good. That Spielberg kid is going places.
I bet he is.
Keep your eye on him.
Yep.
No, add that to your watch list, Amy. That's a good one.
Okay. All right. Now, what are some of the other ones we've got?
Well, then
here?
we've got Daniel Webfoot and the Devil. We get another Plucky story, and this is a Devil and Daniel Webster.
See, I don't think I'm familiar with that story.
No, I'm not too much. No. He heads to Montana Max's mansion. We get some Montana Max, and he's basically the devil because he's Montana.
Because he is. Yeah. He's a little Donald Trump.
he's pretty Trumpian. Yeah.
He's very Trumpian. Yeah.
Hold That Duck is one of my favorite segments.
Oh, yes.
On this one because it's a parody of one of my favorite things in the entire world, which is the movie Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. As well as Hold That Ghost. Yeah. Hold That Duck is Plucky is back again. Plucky's got a lot.
It's a very Plucky.
It's a Plucky heavy show
really,
tonight.
I hadn't really thought about that. But
yeah. Plucky and Babs. This is Plucky and Buster doing a Abbott and Costello routine, where they inhabit a house, and he goes there and he sees all kinds of stuff, and they do Abbott and Costello routines.
God, I love Abbott and Costello. Are we going to do an episode about Abbott and Costello?
I think we should do a triple header of old, like, ancient comedians that our dad enjoyed watching, and so we grew up watching the Three Stooges, Abbott and Costello, and Laurel and Hardy.
Yes, but we are nostalgic for them, Justin.
Yes.
So it counts.
Yes, it counts.
We're nostalgic from these comedians from the 40s or whatever.
Hey, look, Three Stooges especially, like, Stooges Mania was still popular in, like, the 80s and 90s. Like,
That's
it was
true.
still running wild, man. That shit was on TV
Do you remember you
all
had that
the
Three
time.
Stooges? You remember you had that Three Stooges shirt?
I had a Three Stooges I had a Three Stooges shirt. I also had a Three Stooges poster in my room for years and years.
You did.
That was him getting ready to punt the football off Curly's head.
That's right. God.
Oh!
You really were that kid that was into comedy.
I thought I was, and then I met Brian Wakefield. And he put me to shame.
Oh, God. Anyway, stay tuned in 2024 for our Laurel and Hardy, Abbott Costello, Three Stooges triple
Hey,
header
look, I don't think it's
episode.
the worst idea in the world. If you want to hear that, hit us up on social media and let us know.
Are you also nostalgic for that? Did your parents enjoy watching
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Other old people things I'm nostalgic for? Andy Griffith's Show. That's another one.
Oh.
Beverly Hillbillies.
Root beer barrels.
Oh.
Can we have a whole episode about, like, mass general store candies?
Old person candies. That'll be our next snack attack episode.
Oh, yeah, where we rank. We should get back to our taste testing doing
our taste test origins. So the first first time you and I ever collaborated.
That was a Justin X Amy collab.
It was the hottest collab of 2018.
It sure was. All right, moving on.
Anyway.
A Night of the Living Dead one.
Yeah.
With Go-Go Dodo, I remember.
Go-Go Dodo was another favorite of mine. A great voice. Which I feel like I'm not even going to try to do because I'm going to butcher it.
Okay.
But I feel like I just don't have the confidence right now to pull off a convincing Go-Go Dodo without making myself look like a fucking asshole.
Look like a fool.
I will look like a fool in front of the world.
The world is listening,
and I gotta have confidence in my Go-Go Dodo before I just start.
Well, I think you should do at least some other.
It has to happen. It has to happen naturally. I'm sure.
That's
it will.
fine. That's fine. Wait for the time.
I feel like it's going to be Magellan, but we'll see when we get there.
Oh God, I was just thinking about a Magellan voice.
Yeah, so we get Night of the Living Doll is another funny one where a Night of the Living Dead parody, but it's instead of zombies, it's dull people who are like trying to like advertise to you and sell you weight loss supplements.
It's very highbrow. It's very stuff kids would not.
And the big final joke is the one that the big dull person that breaks in the front door is the big fat guy, and he has a Tiny Toons #1 fan shirt on, and he's like asking a bunch of obnoxious questions about some obscure little minute detail in episode 24. You know,
they're really trying to.
They were dunking on the online crowd before online was really a thing.
That's right. That's right. The message boards.
Now, I did read that there have been rumors for years that because there was apparently an issue with an actual stalker who was obsessed with Tiny Toons, and I think like stalked maybe the lady who did the voice of Babs, and it was like a thing, Lord. But they have denied that it was like a parody of that, and
okay,
and there was confusion about whether it was actually a thing or it was like basically these forum weirdos fucking with each other. So nothing ever came of it, but there was rumors that.
Interesting.
And the writers claimed they didn't even know about the guy when they wrote it. So.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring that up as a fun little, not fun, but interesting little sidebar.
Okay. Now we've also got Frank and Myra in Dizzy Gore. Because of course you got to get Elmira in there.
Now I remember this one a lot too. Because of course you got Elmira. Yes. Elmira's got to have her own story, and of course we're doing a Frankenstein parody. If you couldn't tell by the name,
yes.
Who has she's trying to Frankenstein her up a cute cuddly pet.
Of
that
course,
she wants to love and squeeze and all of that.
She just has a lot of feelings.
There's a lot going on with Elmira.
Yeah. I feel like she's probably being denied affection at home. It's a pig pen situation. Yeah. But anyway, so she so she creates this abomination.
Oh yeah. An affront to God.
An affront to God. Yeah.
And then he makes a pet out of it.
And then as she is wont to do. Yeah, that's her whole thing. Probably one of my favorite spoofs, because it is one of my favorite things, is the last one, which is Gremlin on a Wing.
Now a classic. If you know much about the horror genre, you know what this is. Parody,
of course.
And you and I know because Twilight Zone the movie was one of those. I feel like every. We may have talked about this before, but I feel like every house had a handful of like not necessarily that popular like mid-level movies on recorded off of TV or
I was gonna say you had your stuff you recorded off TV,
or pay-per-view or whatever that weren't necessarily like a huge part of the cultural zeitgeist, but they were for you because you had them on tape, so you watched them 500 times
before you had literally access to every single piece of media at your fingertips at all times.
And it's a lot of like in movie club. That's what a lot of what we talk about. Your What About Bob's, your Ernest Goes to Camps, You know, now Twilight Zone the movie is another one of those. And this is parodying not only Twilight Zone movie, but of course the original episode that is a remake of, which is Nightmare at 20,000 Feet.
Yes. I actually rewatched both of those things this year at some point. Rewatched the original William Shatner episode, and then we watched the Twilight Zone.
And how did they hold up?
Sometime over the
I've
summer.
watched the Twilight Zone movie fairly recently, like within the last couple of years, probably.
Definitely, you know, I think I feel similarly as I probably did before, where some segments are better than others. Obviously, like the one that Steven Spielberg directs, which is like it's not scary at all. It's very like heartwarming.
It's
not even
schmaltzy.
that it's
like
bad.
I'm not opposed
totally
to some
out of place.
Spielberg schmaltz, but it's too schmaltzy, and it's
too
not Twilight
schmaltzy.
Zone-y at all.
I was gonna say it's not scary or creepy.
But the others are.
It's fine for what it is, but it's completely out of place in that.
But
movie.
of course, the conversation about that movie always is about the accident that happened on set and the deaths of Vic Morrow and the two kids in the accident while filming. So, yeah, I feel like that movie it was always marred by that reputation. So it never became like it wasn't like a big cultural moment.
I feel like it's kind of a cult classic in that sense because of its reputation.
Yeah. But John Lithgow's phenomenal in the
he's so
Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, as is William Shatner in the original, of course.
Oh yeah, and that is the finale of the movie. Is this one? So I feel like you do end pretty. So
this discussion of Twilight Zone the movie wraps up our conversation about Tiny Toons Night Ghoulery.
Listen, Tiny Toons is constantly spoofing and referencing other. I mean, we would be remiss if we would
like a joke every 3 seconds, man.
Oh yeah, it's like an episode of 30 Rock.
It is just joke. It's good stuff,
and I love it. It's good.
It's fast paced. You got to keep up.
That's right. Now, before we move on to the second special we're going to talk about today, I think it's probably time to hear from our sponsors again.
It is that time. I'm getting the sign from our producer, who does not exist, that it is time to go to.
Is it just Cosmo?
It's Cosmo. He got up from his nap and looked at me, and then rolled back over and went back to sleep. And that was the sign.
And that was the sign.
Time to go to commercial break, guys. So let's see what the ghosts of VHS tape Halloween past have in store for us.
Guess what time it is? When goblins play a ghoul show and dancing ghosts giggle and glow.
You're a ghost.
Silly old witches laugh and delight. Kids dress in costume to trick or treat through the night. It's time to tune in to a Disney Halloween, only on the Disney Channel.
I may be stranded, but at least I got my Fruity Pebbles.
Fruity.
A ghost!
Only a Fruity Pebbles can set my spirit free.
My Fruity Pebbles? Okay.
Frighteningly fruity flavors. Thanks, Fred.
Bonnie!
Boo.
Yeah!
Bon appetit.
Post Fruity Pebbles cereal, part of this complete breakfast.
So, do you want to talk about Eureka's Castle now?
I would love to talk about
Eureka's Castle was that's a big one for us.
It is a very big one for us.
Yeah, that was some formative stuff. That was on the right. We were just the right age for that.
Just the right age for Eureka's Castle. Loved it. Probably my favorite show of that time period, I would say. If you'd ask little kid me.
Your favorite Nick Jr. show? Is that safe to say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Definitely my favorite Nick Jr. show. And so, yeah, like you said, this is just a Halloween episode.
Yes.
Of Eureka's Castle. And I'm sure we will get to a Eureka's Castle episode.
It probably deserves its own because... like I said, it was that was one that you and I. It's like some shows were more of a Justin show, sometimes shows were more of an Amy show, but that one was that one we both were just like, Yeah, and I think
Very
maybe
into.
the Pizza Hut puppets had something to do with that. The rubber hand puppets.
So I also think it's because we loved Muppets so much.
Right.
And this is like Muppet adjacent.
Well, it's puppets.
It's puppets.
So
just not Muppets.
It's still an Uppet.
This is true, and we loved our Uppets.
Love a good Uppet, and
still love a good Uppet.
I love a good Uppet. Let's say it again.
Yeah. So what is the tell us what is Eureka's Castle?
In a nutshell, it's geared toward preschool kids. So this is a young crowd we're talking about.
It's very young.
It's puppet based entertainment.
For your preschool age.
For your preschool aged kid, it ran from 1989 to 1991. Just
quite literally
perfect timing for
when
us.
we were preschool. Yeah.
And who do you think, Amy, developed the characters and was the head writer of Eureka's Castle? Who could have done such a thing that I love so much?
Probably someone as iconic as like R.L. Stine.
You would think it would be, and you would be correct, because it is R.L. Stine.
That is actually a big surprise when I learned that.
I did not know that as a kid, and I don't recall ever having the connection once Goosebumps became a thing that this guy also wrote Eureka's Castle.
Yeah. This was created though by Debbie Beast and Judy Katch, but he developed the characters and was the head writer.
Right. Yeah.
For the show. So you've got Eureka. This is her castle.
This is her castle.
This is really
now. This is her, and all of these characters. They live inside a magic music box, and there's a friendly giant. Remember, and he comes bounding along, and he winds up the music box, and Eureka's Castle pops to life, and
it's all very Muppety. I'm just gonna say,
it's very
I know
uppity.
It's not. It's very uppity.
Yeah.
Yes. Of course, I think your core three characters, you've got Eureka, you've got Magellan, who's a dragon, and then you have Batley,
the bat.
And he's a bat.
And he's a nerd.
He's a nerd because he has glasses. That's how you know.
And he's got a bit of an attitude.
He's the
sassiest one of them. Magellan's kind of like a man baby, but I think he's supposed to be an actual baby. So he's just huge because he's a dragon.
He can't help it. He's actually a baby dragon, but he just happens to be.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Dragons. Like he's small by dragon standards.
Yeah. Oh, very. Yeah.
Because he's not all that much bigger than Eureka, who is like the mother figure of the castle. It's her castle.
Yes.
She's a sorcerer in training, so we're getting all kinds of magical shit going on.
Oh, magical, mystical stuff.
Oh man.
And there's oh god, you remember Cooey? Cooey was one of Magellan's like birds.
Yeah, and he lived in his like shirt pocket, and he would like pop out, and he would like spin his head, and he would go cuckoo, cuckoo,
cuckoo, cuckoo. Oh my god!
And then he could oftentimes tell what he was saying by the inflection. He'd be like cuckoo.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I love it. So yeah, there were a couple different little characters.
Yeah, you had,
but those are the core.
Yeah, and then you also had
ones.
Bog and Quagmire. They lived in the moat. And you'd always have like the moat segments with the water moving,
Yes.
And then you had Mr. Knack, who was like a human, like Eureka was. But he was like the handyman, and he was like, I don't know, of Eastern European descent of some kind. I couldn't quite place the accent, but it sounded kind of, I don't know. It sounded Slavic.
Well, get R.L. Stine on the phone.
What was Mr. Knack the handyman's ethnicity?
These are the important questions.
Yeah.
Justin, the singing fish statues, which were, of course, in the theme song.
Yes, the singing fish statues. You have a lot of like other little kind of characters that pop in and out. You have the mice that are always doing something. You see them a couple times in this one.
Yes.
The fish tones are the singing fish statues who I feel like probably did a lot of doo-wop because it's that era of doo-wopification.
We're in the California raisin, the doo-wopification.
Yeah, 98 89 to 91. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's prime doo-wopification.
Prime doo-wopification. And then Cooey, and Batley has a pet spider, Webster. I don't know if you remember Webster.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah. Eureka's Castle, just in general, is just a great little show. And I think a lot of that is on YouTube.
Actually, a lot of it is on Paramount Plus at the moment also.
Ooh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I know that the Halloween special is on YouTube. Is it also on Paramount?
I believe it is, yeah. Now, I did look for Tiny Toons Night Ghoulery. They used to have Tiny Toons on Hulu, but it's not on there anymore. I checked and
I thought it was on HBO. HBO had all the Warner Brothers Looney Tunes content,
maybe it is. I couldn't find it on there except to buy. But I didn't. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
I know they've had it. I didn't watch Night Ghoulery this year, but I've watched it in last year and the year before. And the HBO did have all the Warner Brothers content, but that could have changed. It's always changing hands.
Mergers.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little. I want to talk a little about what this episode is actually about. But before we do that, I think it's time for our last trip into advertising past.
Yes. Let's go ahead and hear one more time so that we can have the money to get through the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
Let's hear from our sponsors.
Or else
just
this
one
shit's
last
getting
time.
shut down here in like 30 seconds.
It's the Simpsons Scare-a-thon. A 2-hour spine-tingling special.
Scaredy cat. Yeah.
With new tricks.
What are you smiling at?
New treats.
There's a bug that looks like Dad.
And brand new Tales of Terror.
Is Dad gonna kill us? We're just gonna have to wait and see.
The Simpsons Scare-a-thon.
It's Johnny. Go!
Shoctober, New York's movie station creates a little monster. September, Shocktober, November, a little bite of the unexpected.
What was that? A little vampire humor?
Shocktober, it's back. It's very cool to be a ghoul.
We'll be seeing you
On Channel 11, Shocktober, on New York's movie station.
Okay, so this episode is It Came From Beneath the Bed or A Nightmare on Magellan Street.
Magellan Street, yes.
And
great little opening.
This is obviously it's geared toward preschool kids, like we said.
Yeah,
and
so it's not real scary.
I don't know, man. That monster's pretty scary. You see it at the very beginning. You're outside the castle, right? And of course, it's a thunderstorm. And you have the mice and the raincoats.
Dark and stormy night. Yes, the mice and the raincoats.
And they encounter a monster out in the woods around the castle, and we just see its eyes. We see its eyes.
Very spooky.
And then inside the castle, Eureka's telling a bedtime story. Batley comes
trying
in.
Trying
to get everyone to calm down so she can have a moment's fucking peace.
Just a moment's fucking peace. Well, I have a tip for her. Don't read him a scary story.
Well, she didn't. Batley came in and started talking about the scary movie he'd seen.
Yes. He's too young to be watching that kind of stuff.
I feel like Batley's a little older. Like, Batley's the older brother. Magellan is the younger brother, because Magellan's kind of a rube.
Magellan is kind of a rube. Yeah, can you give us a good Magellan accent? Or Magellan impression?
I think, Magellan's sort of like, did you say there was a monster under my bed, Eureka? Something like that. But I do like his, and I feel like I'm going to do the motion. Obviously, you're the only one that can see it, Amy, but where his neck kind of, when he screams, and he does several times because he goes, monster! And and him just like, with his head pointed straight up, screaming, and his neck just doing the spaghetti thing.
Yes. I
love it. It's pretty great. Monster!
It is so good. Oh, God.
So Magellan's a big baby. So he's the point of view of your preschooler who has heard this scary... He has heard his older brother, who's a bit of a dick. Telling him about the scare.
I know what that's like.
Oh, my God.
Podcast over.
So Magellan is a big baby. So he is the point of view of your preschooler. Batley's the older brother who comes in, and tells him about the Scary Monster movie, really to just get him scared.
Yeah.
Because he's a dick.
Yeah. He's
a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
So Bog and Quagmire, they're in there too. They don't really, but they're a little older, so they're not really scared. But Magellan's freaked out. And then he sees the actual monster. Because there is actually a monster.
Just to make matters worse, because there is a monster outside the castle.
Nobody believes him. Bog and Quagmire, they make up this scheme to go scare him.
Everybody's being so mean.
But Magellan's like,
Poor Magellan.
I'm gonna build a monster trap.
Oh, bless him. He
does, and it works, and he catches a monster. But it's actually the monster in this case is actually your terrible friends who were trying to scare you.
The real monster.
The real monster is your friends.
Just like all Stephen King stories, the real monster is you. It's the humans.
Yes, we get it.
The real monster is human nature. Thank you, Stephen King.
But in this case, the real monster is a monster.
It is a monster.
And it's a big fuzzy guy, and he's a big blue dude with.
He's got big giant
eyeballs, long skinny yellow legs, and his name ends up being Fluffy. And it turns out he's just kind of scary looking, but he just wanted to hear that
he's nice.
He's nice and he's friendly, and he's kind of a baby like Magellan. And he just wanted to hear the end of the bedtime story because he could hear it outside.
Oh.
So, they end up becoming friends with him, and they invite him in. And, at the end we get the mice again, and they're still scared of him because they're stupid, dumb mice.
Just little dumb mice.
Dumb mice.
Yeah. It's a very cute little story.
It is.
It's a very, preschooly, but the vibes are just great because it's Eureeka's castle.
It's a damn delight. A damn delight, I say.
A damn delight. Yeah. Yeah. So if you have, even if you didn't watch this when you were younger, but you want to visit it, or you have little kids, this is available online. They would probably enjoy it.
I highly recommend it.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
I stand by it.
I stand by it. I agree. It's a good podcast. Now, speaking of this podcast.
Oh, yes.
This is our last Ghoul Kids Club episode of the season.
We'll be back to cool next time we have an episode.
We'll be back to cool for a little bit. Yep.
Only briefly.
But just briefly. But I do want to let you all know that if you want to listen to any of our older episodes, you can go find them wherever you found this one. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. Go leave us a review. That always helps us out, only if it's a good one, though. If you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say anything at all. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, which I refuse to call X, at Cool Kids Club Pod. And then you can also search for us, Cool Kids Club Podcast, on Facebook if you want to follow us over there.
Yes. If you want to follow us personally, you can follow her over at Amy Reads TN, and I am at Lousy with Ghosts. These are both on Instagram. I don't post all that often. I'm up in your stories. I'm up in the stories.
We're stories people.
Stories people. Yeah. I'm always lurking.
I was say I'm always on there.
Check out Blue Bard Cage. Just Blue Bard Cage. If you have, we're on a little bit of a break while one of our hosts travels the world, but we will be back with more wrestling talk soon. So if you don't follow Blue Bard Caged on Instagram, Facebook, and we do episodes. We do live streams on Saturday afternoons.
Awesome.
Also, we would be remiss if we did not shout out Brian Hey Guys Wakefield. BrianWakefieldMusic.com for our regular theme song, for our spooky Ghoul Kids Club theme song, and everything, and just being a great dude all around.
Being a great dude, being a great prom date. We just saw Brian Hey Guys Wakefield a few weeks ago. Well, I saw him.
I see him all the time
when we went to see Stop Making Sense. I was gonna say you saw him. You see him all the time. Yeah. So shout out to Brian. And shout out to you all. Thank you guys for listening to this this Ghoul Kids Club episode, and also our third installment of the Halloween tape. So we hope that you enjoyed this, and of course, if you have any specials or things like that you think we should go over in future episodes,
feel like we have covered most of the stuff that was on the original Halloween tape at this point.
We have, but that doesn't mean that there's not other specials that we
got some ideas percolating.
We do have some ideas,
I got a year to think about it.
But I also would like to hear from our listeners if there's anything that you feel like we have missed somehow that was important to you growing up. So, let us know on social media. And what do you think?
I think have a happy Halloween. Since by the time we're back, it'll be done. Halloween.
That's right.
And we'll be on the road to Christmas. But first, we got a detour in Thanksgiving Town.
That's right. Eat some deep fried turkey.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, stay spooky.
I'm doing the spooky fingers, but you can't see.
Bye, guys.